No, I talked to him. We're live.
We're live.
Are we live?
Not yet. Oh, hang on. Let me look. I'm on my. I don't think
Oh,
so.
we already got a bunch of
Live chat.
comments.
Yeah, I
32
told people
eyeballs.
we're coming. Oh, now we're live. It just takes a little while. Oh, there it is.
Chris been on the golf course.
Oh, now I can hear me.
So what's up,
Yeah.
Christopher? Can you
Hey,
hear me okay? Can
listen.
everybody hear me okay?
Let me just send you this video of what I was doing today.
Were you out chasing
No,
bears?
I came in here Monday morning and I said, I'm going to be like Brett. Monday's office day.
That's it.
Then my son calls me. Says,
Oh, I was talking to you.
yeah, he goes, you don't believe my morning. I'm going to try to send you this. He's archery hunting. I'll show you the blood stains or the blood that this creature was exposing. And then I'll show you the one. He shot the one that was the same size as this one. And I had come in. So I get a call this morning, 8 o'clock. I don't know what time it was. We were talking on the phone. I think that was like 7. And he says, hey, man, I got one and he's bleeding. Oh my God, he's bleeding. And when he said this elk is bleeding, he wasn't lying. And he tracked this elk. So I got in front of him to the east. I took my truck. I went in glass. I could hear him. He was bugling him as he was trailing it. And this elk was still bugling. And
He was heavy in it, huh?
he knocked his sight off on his bow. And this thing was shooting like 10 inches to the left. So he jugular shoots this elk. Instead, it would have been perfect. He shoots this elk. That's the blood stain. The elk would stop, and that's what it would be. It's going to die.
Yeah.
Right? And the trail it was leaving was like you just took a bottle and it was just dumping blood. Just dumping blood as you go. Well, every time it stopped, that's what it bled. Big puddles. He said it bled in a bowl, like a rock, and had a bowl in it, and it filled up of blood. Fine. I'm telling you, you could run and trail this thing. That's how much it bled. And it was over a mile.
Really?
It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Did I turn my sound off? I walked around there and I can track. That's what I used to do. I used to teach people how to track. We got it. He bled. Then all of a sudden, he just stopped. You should see his arrow. Oh, look what I got. My corn cob.
Oh, corn cob. Yeah, it looks good with that beard.
My other one.
You just need a hat.
My other one burnt.
Where's my hat?
I have my old hat. I have a real big hat like yours.
You need that
But
with
I got
that
my
corn
old
cob
hat.
and that beard.
My other Bob's wearing my hat. Bob. This is Bob.
Let's see, Bob. Roberto. ¿Qué pasó, Roberto?
Bob.
Muy
Wearing my hat
flaco.
and my-
Roberto is muy flaco.
Muy flaco. So, man, we were disappointed. We tried hours. I went back. I trailed back. I came back. There was so much blood on the trail, he was losing just like a faucet. And I'm not exaggerating. I have video of me walking and like just he said the sun was coming up and you could look out 100 yards and see that blood trail.
I'll be dang.
And it quit bleeding. quit bleeding. If I heard a crow 500
Yeah.
yards that way, I went that way. We got his tracks coming out, and he got back in with the herd, and he just quit bleeding. I have never in my life seen an animal leave a trail like this.
He should have bled out. Yeah.
You could see where he laid down 3 times. My son has 5 or 6 of these blood spots before he even got to where I was, and there's 3 more. And he laid down 3 times. And he got up into the rocks, which is no big deal. So much blood. And he
What
just...
did he shoot it with?
Archery.
Big old broadhead.
Yeah.
Flies.
But he wasn't wearing his Sika, and he didn't have his $300 broadheads, and he only had his Amazon pants.
Well, if he had his Sitka on, that bull would have died.
That's exactly, I made a video about it. I videoed him and said, you don't have nothing. No camouflage. He shot this bull at 20 yards that it was off. He shot a jackrabbit today after. He went to the right where it was off, and he hit that jackrabbit. So it just knocked it off somewhere. He has no clue where. And that arrow stuck in that bull's neck.
Oh. Do you think about
He
taking
had
any
to hit his
dogs out there?
I don't think it helped because he quit bleeding and he went into the trail with the other herd. No blood. I'm talking, he called me at 8. It was behind the house a couple miles, close to the golf course, if anybody wants to know. But not on the golf course. That's the other problem. But this other bull is a big bull too. Nice bull. Man, it just makes you sick. But I don't know how he's not dead. And so when he came out and quit bleeding, he had tracks. We tracked him out, and there was and I said, okay, he slipped us. Something slipped. I'm not reading something. I hit we call them a man trap. So, when you're tracking, there's only, unless they jump through the bush, whatever, or go up the cliff. So I checked every man trap. I mean, if I turned on my tracker on my OnX, it'll look like scribble. I went back on the trail. I did big circles, but that last place he bled just a little bit standing there, and he just went around, dropped down with the other herd.
Gone.
I think I heard him still because I was in between them. They were in between my son and me. I was in my truck. I was on a road way over there, and I heard him coming in, and he says, well, I'm just going to bugle, see what they do. And they started yelling again, but there was one in there that was all,
He had
he had that arrow right there. Man, I'm telling you what, I'm sore. My hips are sore. I mean, we walked that whole,
poor
there
little guy.
it was on
Poor
40
little guy. Poor little guy. You're so sore.
No, this guy ran out of blood, right? And his testosterone just started pumping through his. So once that testosterone runs out, he might die. I don't know. We'll go out. I'll go out probably tomorrow. Got an appointment in the morning. I'll go out and then glass up for some crows.
My nephew, who was last year, shot a pretty nice mule deer buck, and they looked for. He shot it that morning. They looked for it all day and they couldn't find it. They found some blood, but they couldn't trail it. And the next day they came and got me, and I loaded up some dogs out there, and I talked him into trailing it up. And it was kind of comical. I think I told this story before. It was kind of comical when Booger found it. He went. All the young dogs, they were all around it, being all wooling it and everything. Booger went over there and hid. He thought, uh-oh, buddies, we're going to be in trouble.
I might take my mule out tomorrow and go run around in that area, but
just take some young dogs and let them kind of fan out.
That's what I was going to do. I'm telling you right now, that bull should be dead. There's no way. You bleed for over a mile. Oh, man, I got to.
You should see that oryx. Yeah. That when I shot that oryx, I mean, jeez Louise, we trailed him, and then when we finally overtook him, that afternoon after I shot him in the morning, and of course I didn't make a good shot either.
This wasn't a good shot, but it was because I think it hit that jugular.
Should have killed him, yeah,
I
eventually.
almost took Stinker just in case, but he showed me the blood plot. You see those pictures? There's no way that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm trying to find.
I wasn't prepared tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I was kind of. Oh yeah, I got this. I got some. I was kind of lazy today.
Well, maybe I'm not seeing all the comments.
Why is that?
Huh. What do you got?
Where is the welded? What does you mean? The welder.
With the welder.
You mean Mr. Benny? He is supposed to be here. I talked to him earlier. He told me a pretty good story.
I'm trying to find this. Nope. I'm gonna try to find this blood trail. Yeah, you can run and see it. Let's see if I can find it here. No, it's ridiculous. There's no reason it just blew my mind that there was that much.
And couldn't recover it, yeah.
And I honestly thought he ran out. I thought he ran out. I'm like, he's right here. But his arrow saturated from one end to the other.
All the way through the fletching and everything?
All the way through.
I'll be dang.
Yep.
Yeah, I bet that sucker got in with that herd and maybe they stomped out the blood trail or something, or it slowed down enough where they could stomp it out, and then he laid down somewhere and died.
Yeah, that's what maybe. I was trying to find, I have a video of the actual blood trail, and it's ridiculous. Oh, here's the arrow.
Hey, I think we got a possible sponsor.
Who's that?
Henry Rifles.
Oh, I got me a Henry 45 long Colt.
I got that Henry 410. Golden Boy, I guess is what you call it.
Yeah, I got one too. I'm not a fan of the gold ones, but...
Why not? What's wrong with you?
Man, I wrap hockey tape around most of my old rifles.
Why do you wrap hockey tape around it?
Just so they're not shiny. I don't like shiny. My motorcycle's all black. Like, I don't...
Huh.
I'm trying to find this blood trail.
I like shiny.
I should have been more prepared. I just don't like the gold one. The only thing I don't like about mine, it's not the, you can't load it from the side. You have to pull the tube and load it.
Oh, see, mine's a side load. And a tube load. 410, too.
But I think it's 45 long Colt. And so I load my own rounds. And I try to load them for both. Not too heavy for my pistol, but heavy enough for my rifle.
Blackbeard Kennels wants to know if I record. Yes, sir, I did. I got to sit down. I got to sit down and probably talk to a guy, kind of quiet guy that probably not many people know about. Has probably treed as many lions as anybody in the world. And I was in the company of the best lion hunters in the world, dry ground lion hunters. I felt kind of out of place there, but it was very, very enjoyable. I got to listen to some good stories, and I got to record this guy, and that interview will be coming out. And I got to video it too this time, so it won't be just on the podcast. I'll have it on my YouTube channel also. So
is that going to be sponsored by Dos Cabezas?
Everything's sponsored by Dos Cabezas Cattle Company, horses and cows, and then also Henry is going to sponsor it, but from what I understand, they won't sponsor with money. They're just going to have to send me a rifle. So me and Chris are going to have to share it like child custody every other week.
Hey, tell them to give us an over-under.
So, but they were really nice. They sent me a really nice nice email, and super good. I mean, and they're a good company. So
Old Houndsman. Old Houndsman. That's what we're talking about tonight, too.
yeah, where's Benny? He's an old houndsman. He needs to be.
And he's talking about what makes an old houndsman. And I was talking to my cousin, too.
Can you guys see that? There's guys in here that not many people know, but there's Terrell Shelley right in the middle. There's Warner Glenn right back there. Steve Smith had to leave, or Steve Smith would have been as tall as that flag right there. He's like 7 foot
6'6".
Oh, he's like 7 foot tall. He's a big man. There's Kelly right there. Kelly Kimbrough Glenn. There's my beautiful wife right there. And Keith Wilkerson. This guy. Oh, there's Rick Dickerson. He's retired government hunter. Ethan Sprague. Mr. Marks right there. There's the auctioneer. That's a guy who, what's his name? Wade Hatch. He's the one who does the Hounds and Mule deal up in Bloomfield or Farmington. And he auctioned. We had a table full of stuff he auctioned off. And this man right here, his name is, Ed Ash or something. He's the one who wrote the book about Terrell Shelley and Warner Glenn.
Which one?
This guy right here with the kind of a purple shirt on or whatever.
I don't think they can see the cursor.
Oh, they can't. Second bottom row, second from the right. And this is a Derringer right here. This is Terrell's son. This is Casey Fair right there. This guy is a heck of a nice guy. Just a rancher, had hounds, hunted lions. It's really pretty cool. Here's Jim Farmer right over here. This is Jim Farmer, top row, about third to the right, and Rick Dickerson is second to the right. And Warner Glenn's back there holding the flag.
Well,
it was good.
I think
it was fun. Oh, and then I found something. Let me see if I can find this. See if I can make this work. There was a barn that this guy had that I don't have it. I do not have it. Son of a gun. Huh. I got it somewhere. I don't know where. I got a new phone, and for some reason, it's not communicating with it. It doesn't go to my iPhotos on my computer like my old phone used to.
You're not linked up yet?
Yeah. But anyway, this guy rolled out this blanket and had all these old knives in it. And supposedly these knives were found in an old barn, and that old barn is where Ben Lilly used to spend his summers. And that's what Ben Lilly did. He had grind out these knives. And so these were all old Ben Lilly knives. Pretty cool, really.
Did anyone answer the question why lions scratch?
Oh, yeah.
What was the main conversation there?
We had an extensive conversation over lion scratches. And, you know, how lions, you know, over their territories will overlap and they'll scratch. And, the big old toms, they're always letting everybody know where they're at. And that's what they're doing is they're kind of, it's like a calling card, letting the world know they're there and also kind of marking their territories. But something I learned, and I had thought about it before, it's different, but queens or females, they scratch too. But they scratch a little bit different than a tom does. It's more of a V-shaped deal but they scratch with their back legs just like a tom, they said. I guess they don't squirt on it or anything, but yeah. I listened. I just was all ears, man. I was just listening to what these guys were talking about. And that was something they talked about. And then with the interview, with you'll have to tune in and listen to it. Either go to W Hunting Supply and listen to the podcast, or it's going to be on this channel. I got the video and the audio, and talked about the habits of lions. How Rick has hunted lions with hounds for over 30, 35 years, 35, 40 years or something like that, professionally for a living. He was a government hunter. And first he was in Arizona, then they transferred him to Texas. And as Steve Smith says, he's killed more lions with a flashlight in his hand than probably anybody in the world. But we talked about how lions travel, if you're trailing a lion, how they travel if they're going uphill, or how they travel when they're going downhill. Some ways to tell if you're going backwards on one. And some pretty important stuff from a guy who's, I don't know, over 500-600 lions. I'm sure I didn't ask him, that's almost, you just don't come out and say, well, how many lions have you caught? Something like that. I didn't feel like doing that. It's almost like asking somebody how much money they got in the bank.
Or asking a woman how much she weighs.
That'll get you killed.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was interesting. I had a good time, and for the most part, all those guys are real humble people. They're not, nobody just sits around and blows smoke rings up anybody's butt.
We talked about what makes those guys catch so many lions, but I mean, the common denominator on that is they're all ranchers.
They're in the good country. They started out having to hunt lions out of self-defense. They're losing their calves and colts and things to lions, and they're in an area where there was a high population density of lions, and they had to be controlled somewhat. And of course, one thing led to another. Then pretty soon, they're having to hunt lions to protect their livestock. Then there became a market for people paying to come hunt lions. So they, a lot of them started guiding and supplementing their income that way. And relentless.
And less rules.
And these guys are starting to hunt without the tracking equipment or the shocking and stuff we have, and they had to start the hard way, but they were in good country. And these guys, get on a horse or a mule and ride all day long. That's checking cows. They're always out on the land, and that makes as big a difference as anything.
All day with their dogs. When they leave, they have their dogs with them.
Yeah, they're going to check cattle, check waters, check fence, whatever it is. The life of a rancher, of a cattleman, but they got their dogs with them, and they're in good lion country.
And they didn't believe in divorce back then, so you had to stay gone as long as you could, doing what you needed to do.
That's it. The only way you could get along with your wife would be gone for like weeks at a time.
Look at Ben Lilly. Why are you gone for 2 years? Chicken hawk wouldn't quit flying.
Yeah, he just kept on going.
Lion won't quit running. So.
But yeah.
Those guys got to hunt. And they didn't hunt. They weren't hunting. Those guys were out doing a job.
Yeah, they were removing a predator that was, endangering their livelihood. And they were removing it from the landscape, And different world back then, completely different world. But some really neat guys.
Man, if you could take just one day and ride with those guys. Well, it's just like when you ride with any of those guys. Mr. Clump, when he tells you.
Now, John wasn't there, but I tell you what, now they all said the same thing I said. They had a lot of respect for John and his ability with a hound. John's amazing with a hound. I mean, he really is. And they all talked about him, among other things. But
Marty Beard said, hot southeast wind blowing here tonight in North Dakota. My old mentor, Buddy Stowers, from Oklahoma, always told me to save my hounds and go in the morning. You know, I think those, if you took that advice right there, you'd be a better hunter. You don't have to always go out there and break your back or be tough and rain. You know what I mean? Save your hounds. That's just good advice right there.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I heard that, you know, Henry McIntyre told me, or Steve Smith also told me, you're not dry ground lion hunting if you're riding 15-mile circles. And I don't know. That's quite a bit, really, in rough country. And
yeah, it depends on your country. Flatland, you can move that quick, but you get into them deep canyons or Manzanita.
Is there any way we can support Dos Cabeza, or is there? I don't know. I'm going to find out, though, because they're going to help me and Chris out, that's for sure. And the Henry is kind of it's kind of a, you know, I'm using it here on the interview stories and tales, and then also for this stuff that goes to the podcast with W. But the biggest part of it was they talked about my Born 100 Years Too Late channel, because I always show the rifle I'm sticking in my scabbard, and I get a lot of comments about that and stuff, what it is I carry. And I'm not a big shooter.
I haven't got to use mine yet because I was hunting down south. So I carried my Mini 14 with 3 30-round magazines and my Glock. And I always had 4 magazines.
You were ready for any interference from these.
Yeah, I don't think that lever action 45 long Colt would do me too good.
Was you afraid if you shot a cat, one of those guys might jump on it and start eating it or something?
Maybe. They're not Haitian. Not the Haitians.
I bet there's Haitians come over the border there too, isn't
there? Oh,
there?
there absolutely is.
They say all nationalities. That's probably why I can't find a lion track.
They're eating all the lions. I wonder how many animals, wildlife, is took illegally by illegals.
I don't know. Are they armed though?
Some of them are.
Are they? I mean, those are usually the guys that are hauling drugs, though. They're not just the guys.
Yeah, most of your normal Joes aren't armed. I mean, back in the day, and we did all that stuff. Whoa, what was that?
I have no idea. This thing's acting screwy tonight. If we lose you, everybody, well, sorry.
Yeah.
And I've been struggling. I've got a video that I was pretty proud of. I thought it was a good idea to get out, and
Can't get it together right?
No, it's terrible. It's like my last summer video, really, because from here on out, I mean, I'm going to the high country. I'm gonna go get up there where it's nice and cool, and where a guy's got a lot better chance of cutting a lion track. But
I found the biggest lion track I ever seen in my life down there. Of course, I didn't have my dogs. I was down there hunting paddle cactus berries. So, and I didn't find none. They all fell off, or the bears ate them all, I guess. But
hold on. What were you looking for?
I don't know what they call them. They call them tuna. A lot of people call them tuna. But those berries on those paddle cactuses, those big red apple-looking berries.
Prickly pears?
Prickly pear apple. Prickly pear. I call them paddle cactus. I don't know.
Prickly pear. Yeah, well,
I have a name for everything.
The paddle itself, I've seen those guys cook that up and say it's pretty good.
My dad's neighbor, he had a whole bunch in his fence, and every morning he'd go out there, cut one off.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty good.
And fry it up or whatever he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Louisiana hunting. What are you talking about? I found 3 javelinas last year. Oh, that was Jared Fisher at a camp. They're getting Uber Eats from what I hear.
They probably are.
Just calling it in.
Louisiana hunting
Robert
Jaguar.
Chase, do I regret selling my property in the mountains? I miss it every day for a little while. But sometimes a guy's got to do what his guy's got to do. I needed the money, so I can go up there. I'm going to find it. My goal is this year, if my health holds out, I'm going to go find a place up there somewhere where I can just kind of set up a camp that I go to, and I camp there and hunt out of that, and I'm going to do a lot of scouting and, to try to find a place that has, I know where there's a good, an absolute lion highway. And there was a kid there at that rendezvous, and I talked to him, and I asked him, I said, he said he went up to this spot. I ain't going to tell nobody because it's top secret. But he told me where he went, and he said he went up there and stayed for a couple of days. And I said, well, I went up there and stayed 3 days one time. And I asked him, I said, well, how many lion scratches did you see? He said 17 under 2 trees that were next to each other. I said, if you travel down that trail and you keep going down that trail, it's unbelievable how many you count. Those toms, it's like the dividing line, and those toms are scratching on it, and their territories are on both sides, I guess.
Trying to find. I was going to send you a picture. Oh, so this, down in Globe, there's this little line shack. Let me send it to you. It's this little line shack, and I've stayed in it a few times. You just got to, when you wake up, you got to make sure you look under, make there's no rattlesnakes under your bed. They got a little, I did take a picture of the inside. Come on, I'm trying to send it to you. But it's been there forever, and there's a little stream down on the bottom. It used to be full of spearmint up that little, where the water ran, but it all dried up and died or something. But this is a little line shack. Let me see if I took a picture of the inside.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, crap. But it'll somewhat kind of keep the rain off your head. I sent you a picture of the inside too. But it's been there forever. I've chased right there at that spot. I chased a bear off a pond, and I ended up doing a split race where they took off after a lion and went east. And the bear, I lost some dogs. Later on, they fell off a cliff, and I think they busted their liver up because they got all bloated up. But that's the inside. And to the right, there's a little shelf there that people put food on. And I've used some of that food, and I've left some of my food. Trade them out.
Is it for illegals coming across, or is that close?
No,
to... That's over by Globe.
It used to be a line check. No, I think hunters just kind of go in there, and there used to be a spot. There was a mine down there, a Regal mine, and it was private property, like 60 acres. And I wanted to buy it from this guy, and he wanted like $280,000 for it. I should have bought it, but he ended up selling it a few months back. And they had a bunch of mine shacks on there. Same thing. Some Boy Scouts or cache people came in and geocache, whatever that is, and they fixed it all up, built up the outhouse, and same thing. They'd leave food there, and we slept there many, many times. I should have bought that Regal mine, though. Them bear go up and down there. They got the mine. I've been in that mine. Me and my dad went back in that mine, and we went back. Man, we was back there for 4 or 5 hours, came out the other side of the mountain. So, bear poop, lion poop on the same pile.
How far of drive is it for you?
Oh, it's only about 50 miles down there.
Oh, so that's not bad at all.
No, you got to go Salt River Canyon. It's about 9 miles off the road, but I hunt all that area. It's just really tough. Biggest line I ever glassed up was down there, man. It's in... I told my buddy where it was, and he goes, oh, this canyon? I was like, I don't know. I call it Devil's C word because it's horrible. Bad country. That's where I lost dogs last year. And
I think that's going to happen. You get into that country where the lions, where those big toms like to travel and hang out, you're going to end up with some dogs bluffed and stuff like that. That's...
it was a Viking death. It was a Viking funeral because... he was an older dog, and I'd rather a dog die out there running than on a chain or in a kennel.
Bonnie and Clyde are doing really, really well. I got them all outfitted. I got, matter of fact, right outside, I got my packs already. I used the Mountain Ridge gear, panniers, but then I want it. I don't mind the soft panniard, but those for some reason, because they have the pouches on the end, I don't like them being soft. So they sell some inserts, and they sold me a couple inserts to put in there, so it makes it like a hard panniard. And so my goal is to get in some really, some country that other people just don't hit very often. Hey, look at who we got showing up here. Whoa! Hold on, Benny. Be careful. You're doing somersaults.
I was practicing getting off my horse with my new saddle.
Let's see. And then who said? Blackbeard, did I already see? This is my memory going on me again. There isn't any way we can support those cabezas, or is there, Benny? How could a person support them?
I think that they have a horse business as well. They sell foals and they sell mule colts too.
Do they?
I don't remember what is it called, mountaintop horses or something.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as they're always buying and selling cattle, so I don't know. I don't have any. I have no idea.
I don't know. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
You could go down to where's that? Benson? Is that Benson? Douglas. For that spur ordeal they got every
Earn
year.
your spurs.
Earn your spurs.
Earn your spurs. But that's Kelly's deal. Kelly and Mackenzie.
Yeah. And she told me to tell you guys to make sure that we show up next year at that thing. That she really enjoyed having us there. So.
Well, we know what we're up against now.
But yeah, so. But anyway, I think I don't know if John does it or if his boys would do it. But I tell you what, now if I had the money and I had an extra dog or two, and I wanted to get somebody to get them on some lions and get them trained, I would pay one of those boys to go hunt that dog.
Yeah, Tyler.
Tyler, yeah, it'd dang sure be worth it, because they're in good country, and those guys are good with dogs. I mean, they're good. They're good with livestock and animals and everything.
They'll definitely tell you if your dog's worth it or not.
And if it is a really, really good dog, I'm pretty sure they won't tell you, oh, he ain't no good, we better keep him. It's like that guy, you take that dog.
You might want to go down there and a couple months after they say the dog's no longer. See if the dog is no longer.
That dog fell off a cliff, sorry.
Yeah.
You're talking about Dos Cabezas. Did you send your address to Kim?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, she called me and talked to me for a long time, and I sent her the address. I don't know. I haven't checked the mail or anything. I don't know. I'm kind of, I feel funny about things like that. I would, don't get me wrong, I would love to be successful enough in what we do here to get sponsors and to have, Garmin, or one of these big dog food companies, and, the companies that we spend money with, having them, sponsor us and sponsor being able to go out and, because we got, Chris, like 3 or 4 more guys that we could go interview.
Yeah.
But it's going to take traveling. You're not going to get them on the internet. You're not going to get them online like we are. Those guys don't even know what the internet is. It's like Terrell Shelley still thinks that it shows mostly porno and stuff.
That's like it's like the guy you interviewed. He didn't want to put headphones on.
Yeah, I asked him. I said, I got these headphones. I like them because you can hear better, and he doesn't hear very good at all. And then you can get the audio, a lot better. And I said,
Who was
mind?
That
was Dickerson. I asked him, I said, you mind putting those headphones on? He said, I'd rather not. I said, well, it makes better sound and you can hear better. He said, I'd still rather not. So I didn't argue with him. I just said, okay.
Yeah, them old timers don't like them headphones.
No.
Let's see. Can you see that?
That's those Shelley boys.
That's Dickerson.
Is he with Terrell and them, or with Lawrence, or
with Benny Griffin?
Oh, really? All we can see is your mustache.
His forehead shining on
No,
the
you're on the
picture.
wrong thing. Go to the left.
Keep going. Keep going. Stop.
Look at this. That's a heck of a picture there. Look at Benny. He looks like Ben Lilly.
I know.
And you must have been eating pretty good since that time.
Hey, I ate even more back then.
But you must have
burned
worked
it
it
off.
off.
Yeah.
I became an easy keeper.
Boy, it happens with age.
Yeah.
I feel like
that was over up in Holmes Creek, over in Bloody Basin country, north of Phoenix,
North
in
of
the desert.
I've hunted that.
Was Rick a government hunter then, Benny?
No, Rick was a taxidermist.
Oh, okay.
And let me see what dogs are there. That blue tick dog that he's got there is Sailor. Sailor. He bought that from George Goswick. I don't know what that red dog looks like. My Rhodesian Ridgeback Redbone cross.
You had a Rhodesian red. Who was talking about those the other day? Oh, there's a guy that's from South Africa. What was his name? His last name's Corn. He's up at Red Rock. He's on a ranch up there. He's running. He I don't know what he does. He's cowboys. I mean, he's a cowboy. He's from South Africa, and he has been around Ridgebacks, and he wants to cross some good Ridgebacks in with some good hounds. And that's funny you say that. What was that dog like, Benny?
That dog was the toughest dog on the planet. I saw that dog wade into coons and skunks and javelina and everything except what we needed him to. But he never once got a scratch on him. And he'd grab those varmints by the back of their head and shake them like rag dolls. Dan and I were headed to go coon hunting, and Dan had a big old bloodhound male. And I said, "Hey, Dan, you want to tie those two male dogs away from each other?" He says, "I'm not worried about mine." I said, "No problem." And when the fight broke out, we couldn't even get pulled over fast enough. And Red, my dog, had Dan's dog by the throat and pinned him down against the bed of the pickup. And Dan says, "Get your dog, get your dog." I said, "Hey, I ain't worried about it." But that dog was athletic. Back then we bought and sold hay, and we delivered it. So we had a 2-ton truck, and we'd put a load of hay on that truck where, there was every bit of the legal height. And we'd tell Red to load up, and he'd jump up on the hood of that 2-ton Ford truck, that F700, jump up on the hood of that truck, get a running start, jump up on the roof and climb up that stack of hay. And it was hilarious. He'd ride there, and people in town and around Phoenix were looking, pointing. And when we went through an intersection with the street lights hanging down right there, it was pretty close to the hay, and you could see the shadow over there on the side of the road where Red was ducking and dodging to make sure the light didn't knock there. He was pretty athletic and double duty tough.
What would he trail with the hounds, or was he more like a jump dog, I guess?
No, he would trail.
Would he? Was he open on track, or was he silent?
Yeah, he opened on track. He didn't have really a whole lot of ball. It was more of a chop. But he had a real blocky, square head on him, like the Ridgeback side of things. And he had that ridge down his back, but
that showed up.
It wasn't as pronounced as the Rhodesian dogs. It was just a little line.
Yeah.
But he was a favorite dog of mine. I loved that dog, but he was a knucklehead too. He decided that he needed to if we didn't pay him enough attention, he'd kill a chicken and eat it. and then he'd just be there smiling at you. So I chained him up by the front door. So every time we came and went, we pet him and talked to him. And I guess one day he just had enough of that too. And I came home in a bad mood, and there he was smiling at me with chicken feathers all around. So I capped his ass.
You got rid of the dog for a chicken?
Well, it wasn't just one chicken.
I don't care. I don't care if it was the whole state of New Mexico's chickens. I wouldn't kill a dog for a chicken.
I killed plenty of dogs for chickens.
I would not. There's no way.
I've always been the alpha in my pack, and Red just thought, well, I'll just pull this one stunt. And he did it over and over and over. And so that time, like I said, I was already grouchy. That was Red the Red Bone Ridgeback.
I don't care. Not for chickens.
Yucky's mom.
Yucky's mom. I would have broke them from chickens.
There's no breaking yours, mate.
I don't care. I wouldn't have any chickens. Not if it was a good lion dog. Lord of mercy. For what a good lion dog goes, you can buy a lot of eggs, a lot of chicken.
Shelby said you didn't use the spear.
I didn't have the spear. I hadn't been to Africa yet.
That's why he did it.
So disappointed.
I don't like chicken killers.
Yeah, you got way too much farmer blood in you guys.
I like eggs.
Bunch of damn sodbusters is what we got.
I like eggs.
Yeah. Build a better fence.
Liquid chicken. It makes a dang good burrito.
Man, I just feel like shutting the thing down right now.
I certainly
bunch of guys picking the damn chicken over a good lion hound. Now maybe if the dog wasn't any good, yeah.
No, I wasn't successfully hunting lions then. We were just pursuing everything but lions.
Well, was he a good dog? Did he pursue things well?
Oh yeah. And we were on the river one night and coon hunting, and there was a guy that drove across the river and then set up camp right in the middle of the road. So there's no place for us to go. And we come through there with all these dogs. There was 5 of us with, everybody had 100 dogs. And this guy opens up his camper and says, I've got 2 Dobermans in here. We could hear him barking. And you better get those damn hounds out of here. I'll turn my Dobermans loose. And Dan, my neighbor down there with the bloodhound, he said, hey, if you'll just give us 3 or 4 minutes where we can get all these dogs caught up but Red, you turn them sons of bitches loose.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, well, yeah. I had some Airedales when I was a kid, and I had some hogs. And I'd been gone, I think, on an FFA trip or something like that. And I came back, and my dogs had killed one of those sows. And they had let my dogs out. I had them kenneled, but somebody had let them out, and they killed one of those sows. And my dad, and I was a kid, and my dad gave me a gun. He said, you're going to have to go out there and shoot that dog, he killed one of your sows. And I went out there and looked at that dog, and I looked at those pigs, and I looked at that dog. I said, I'd much rather have my dogs than a bunch of damn pigs anyway. So I got rid of the pigs. Dad said, you shoot that dog? I said, no, I'm going to get rid of those pigs. So I don't know damn pigs. I want my dogs.
I shot a $3,000 dog because it tore the ears off my cow.
Let's don't brag about stuff like that, okay? It makes me upset. It doesn't give you any. It's not a virtue.
It is.
Not if you're a houndsman. Not if you got a good dog.
As a molosser.
What's a molosser?
Like a guard dog. I didn't want her to get hold of my kids one day. If my kids would have walked out there and kicked her for it.
Look at this. I just got a notification that says your Apple ID is being used to sign in to a new device. Your Apple ID is being used to sign in to an iPhone near Philadelphia, PA. I say don't allow.
Don't allow. I got rid of a dog for killing chickens, but they were my wife's chickens, and she killed 15 of them in about 3 minutes. She wasn't a great dog. It was Yucky's mom. But
James, I'm just disappointed. I'm just really disappointed.
He's in a funk. He's just in a funk.
No, I'm just disappointed. I gotta change my password here.
Yeah, I changed your password quick.
I don't. If I lose you guys, this is something I gotta do.
Before someone hacks us.
So when John called me and said he wanted to do that, what did I think? I said, John, that's your deal. He said, well, I've already talked to the boys about it. And, Brett's been down here and he's done a lot for us. He says he's done a lot for me by interviewing and saving that deal so my grandkids and everybody can know about
good.
What Jaguar. So that's part of the deal, Brett. He just that's John's way of saying thank you.
Well, I do appreciate it. I do. I really do.
I think it's harder to take money from a friend than it is a sponsor.
No doubt.
It was.
But me and John have been talking about this for about 6 months. I just wasn't in the place to say anything because it's John's deal.
Oh, change the subject about whacking dogs. I can just delete it out. This is where we're a little different than a lot of other podcasts or lives, if you really think about it, we don't care. What are you gonna do? Kick us off?
I care.
It's the fact of it.
Brett's got the kill switch right there by his fingertip.
I can get rid of either one of you guys just like right now. It just.
What cameras do you use?
What cameras do I use to film my? I've upgraded. I there for the longest time I used a GoPro Hero 12, I think. And then if you go, I started making videos way back. First, I got tons of footage with a Garmin Verb, and it's not worth sharing. I mean, it looks like you're in an earthquake the whole time, riding on that mule. But then when the GoPros came up with that stabilization, that in-camera stabilization where you didn't have to have a gimbal, it helped a lot. And then now, because of I get into it, the color, matching the colors. If I used like my Panasonic, or I used my DJI, hey, look at that. Or I used my DJI drone, the color profile or whatever is different. So I switched to, I got a DJI Osmo, and then I have a DJI Action 4 that I use. And I can get just about everything I want to get, like that. So, and it's easy, you can't just, riding around on a mule.
You don't realize how important stabilization is until you had a camera, or you watch old, or you pick up an old camera and try to record something, and you're like, what the heck? It's crazy.
Oh, I know. Dadgummit.
Someone still trying to sign in?
Yeah. I thought I changed the password.
Well, you did. They're trying to sign in again.
They're trying to change the password.
We you know what I did find out? I found out somebody who did make. I found out how much Houndsmen XP made for Colorado with everything.
They helped out quite a bit, didn't they?
$116,000 by the time it was all said and done. Everything.
Man, that's good.
That's
That's real
good.
good.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I said we have to up our game. He posted on my my AZWA or AWDA, and he said how much. Well, I talked to him, and he said how much. Now, I was just joking around. I said, "Man, I have to up my game." And he's like, "Well, it's not a competition, but yeah, it is. Every houndsman is a competition for everything we do." Brett's changing his password 10
Sorry,
times.
guys. Yeah,
So is that cowboy sponsorship gonna allow you to go get the rest of those interviews?
well, I can still go get, like, if I can arrange to get was it Joe Hot? If I can get him and
Yeah.
that other guy. They talked about that other guy, I forget his name. They said no, he can't get around very good, but he's still got all this mental faculties about him.
What's the what's the first interview you did after
I got
taking over that stuff?
I got to talk about. I didn't really do an interview. It was the first time I'd really thought about it. I'd stopped and seen Henry McIntyre. Well, I early, long time ago, I went and seen Henry McIntyre, and then later on, I got to see him, and he was gone already, but his wife was there, his widow wife, and I got to photograph all his a bunch of his pictures that she had there at his house. She was there chopping weeds at his house, and then I was on my way through Sanderson, and I got to talk to Rick Dickerson about the guy. What was his name, Benny? Do you remember? The Mexican
No,
man.
I don't.
Oh,
Old Mexican.
And I asked Rick about him. I said, "Did you know a lion hunter there in Sanderson?" He said his name right away. Bam! Said, "Yeah, he was a good guy." And this guy, oh shoot! And I went in his house and I got to sit and talk to him. I should have interviewed him, but at that time I was kind of, you're kind of bashful about going in and saying, "Hey, can I turn the camera on?" And I had terrible cameras back then. That was when I was using that Garmin Verb, and I didn't have a Zoom recorder or anything to get the audio real good. So I just made a little video about him. Galvan, his last name was Galvan, and he was so neat to talk to. Yeah, I mean, he was so proud of the fact that he had caught lots and lots of lions down there and everything, and he was a predator control for ranches and sheep, and I guess at that time they had lots and lots of goats and sheep down in that country, and
Yeah.
so he worked that, and they paid him. I don't think he was a government hunter, but he was and he trapped. He trapped lions too. But he said, man, I much preferred using the hounds. FM Galvan was his name, and I got that video. I could probably share it.
Dickerson was the first, the only, and the last government lion hunter in the state of Texas.
Really?
Yeah, everybody else has been private contract.
Yeah, but he knew FM Galvan. He talked real highly of him, and he was a neat guy. And when I went in there to see him, I just knocked on the door, and because the people at the gas station told me about him, and I just knocked on the door, and he was dying of cancer at that time, and he was sitting in his couch. Of all things, he had a big old coffee table in front of him with more pills on it than that would choke a horse. I mean, there was all pill bottles all up and down, and I bet he didn't weigh 65 pounds. He is skinny as a rail. He's a little man anyway, skinny as a rail. And I started talking to him about hounds and lion hunting, and he just lit up. I mean, he could tell me stories, and I didn't record it or anything. And but he's sitting there with all those pills, dying of cancer, smoking a cigarette. And I made that video, but it was just kind of me talking about him and showing his pictures, And I don't know if I can find it. If I could find it, I'd share it right here. It's real old, so nobody probably finds it on my YouTube channel. But
so you bumped into Bruce Kennedy and got some of his stuff, and then you started doing interviews after that, right?
Yeah, FM Galvan right there. Dang it. Original media. It's on my other deal.
You know, I asked Dickerson, we've known each other since we were in grade school. And I asked Dickerson one time about Henry because I'd always heard that Henry was just a mean old bully kind of guy. He could put on the charm, but he was a bully. And I said, so do you guys get crossways down there? And Dickerson laughed. He says, you know what? I don't even pay any attention to old McIntyre. He can do whatever he wants. I don't care. It don't affect me. And just as long as he doesn't get in my face, we'll be good.
I wouldn't. I tell you what. Now there's a lot of people in this world I wouldn't cross, and Dickerson is one of them. Someone said, "I hear you're a tough guy. You're a pretty tough guy." And he said, "Just take a little bit of money to find out." And he was serious. He fights in the dang. He gets in those cages and fights, whatever you call that. Here's this video. You guys want to see this video on FM Galvan? I found it.
Play a little clip.
My name is Wanda Dina.
Okay, I just had the opportunity to talk to FM Galvan here in Sanderson, Texas. He's 80-something years old. He's been hunting lions in this area since he was 30, I guess. I got to take a bunch of pictures of his photo album. He's sick. He's 80-something years old. He's sick, and he's got cancer real bad. He's real interesting getting to talk to him, same old thing. He started hunting, I guess all of his friends own these ranches or worked on these ranches around here. He trapped quite a few lions, and then he started hunting with dogs. He said, I asked him, there's only a few times that he really smiled and laughed. I asked him, I said, what's funner? Is it, you like to trap lions better or hunt them with the dogs? And he laughed. He said, the dogs. He said, that's the way to do it. He said that, he said, there's just so much more. He enjoyed it so much more, and you could tell he really liked his dogs. One of the other times he laughed was or smiled and laughed, got a big old grin, he talking about training his own dogs. And when he said, when it finally clicks and that dog starts trailing and going to catch that lion, he said that's what it's all about right there. So, it wasn't, even though he got paid like $500 a lion bounty, it was still about the dogs for him. He really enjoyed watching the dogs work. He talked a lot about, just sitting up on top of one of these canyons and watching the dogs down in the canyon work a trail out, and of course here he is dying of cancer and he's sitting there smoking a cigarette. But talked about his horses some and how good his horse, he had one horse that he could pack a lion out on, the other horse he didn't. How he always raised some dogs. He said he just kept, enough around, to have 2 packs. He said, catch a dog. He said, you catch a lion with 3 good dogs. He said, you don't need, he said, but he said, if you want to keep catching lions, he said, you need more dogs just because, he would hunt a day and then he would take other dogs out and hunt another day with the other dogs to keep fresh dogs on that lion. He said, that's the way you that's the way you catch lions, at least in this country. They talked about later on when he got one of those shocking systems, and he was really proud of that. He said, I could shock a dog up to 2 miles away. He said, but he said he only had to shock them a couple times. He said they wouldn't mess around with deer or anything no more. So, I'm trying to think what else he said that was interesting. Never could get him to say what kind of dogs he used. I said, where'd you get your dogs? What kind? I raised them. Well, what kind? He said, I raised them. That's all he'd say. I took pictures. I said, looked like some black and white walkers. He said, yeah, some black and tan. Never would say. Just, I asked him about other lion hunters. He knew about the McBrides down here. I guess they're up by Marfa. And he knew about Henry McIntyre. Never did comment. He talked about Rick Dickerson up there at Fort Stockton. He didn't really have a lot to say about him. What else did he say? I got some pretty good pictures. I asked him, how many lions have you caught, you think? And he just laughed. He didn't. He said, oh, a whole bunch. And then, he said, it wasn't, lion was in the canyon. He said sometimes he'd catch 2 in a day. One of the things, that I gathered from the conversation was that, to know where to go, he said he was born and raised here. He knew where to go to look for a lion. He said, you know where there's lions. He said, and if there's not one there today, he said, there'll be one there tomorrow or the next day. And then he said, good dogs. He said, you get a good dog. He said, you get that good dog. He said, then you'll know. They'll catch a lion for you. And what else did he say? Oh, he said, you just got to know. He said, you just learn those dogs. Learn the dogs. You just learn the dogs, what they do. So there you go. That's about it.
Todavía estoy aquí, I am still here. Todavía estoy aquí, my soul is dancing in the moonlight. Oh, mingle with each grain of sand in the land that is my birthright. I am still here, todavía estoy aquí. I am still here, todavía estoy aquí. My name is Juan Medina, of a Vaquero once was I. Now I live in the air above the pepper trees.
That was in 2014. And I think I did Henry McIntyre before that one. No, it was after that one, I think. But
look at that lion, and it's not a huge lion. He wasn't there to show a big skull or 7 foot. They were just out there getting lions because they were killing cattle and deer.
And goats. I remember I didn't mention it, but
sheep.
Goats or sheep, whatever. They used to have tons of sheep, didn't they, in that country, Benny?
They used to have a lot of hair goats.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Dickerson ended up, a lot of glass mountains down there south of Fort Stockton ended up with a bunch of those boer goats. And Dickerson was down there hunting boer goats for a long time. And then nighttime hunting down on the river and all the way down against the border, and he was hunting in sheep country there. So there's still some of that down there, but they had a lot more, yes.
Let me see if I can. I tell you, the best thing about that was after he passed away, his daughter called me or sent me a message and thanked me, for making the video. And I never knew anybody would, ever see it, from the family. I didn't, but that kind of made it all worthwhile.
Well, that gets back to the deal with the clumps, Brett.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a, what would you say, a legacy thing for him.
It's just like my family, watching my videos. They're like, we do that every day. There's nothing exciting about it to us. But it's the people who don't get to do that every day that watch our videos. Now, once we're gone and dead and buried and cremated, whatever we are, they'll appreciate those videos more. You look back on those videos,
I don't know about what it's still, every time I go out, it's exciting to me. I mean, and this, I got all these pictures of Henry McIntyre. That Henry, and these I got was after Henry had already passed away. I had seen Henry 2 times prior to when I stopped, and he had already passed away, and his wife was his widow wife was there. And the first time I talked to him, I mean, it was just like, he was one of the nicest guys in the world. He took me into the house and started. He had lions out there in cages. I know I told that story a bunch of times, but here I was. This is like 1983, and I'd been wanting to hunt lions since I was, 12 years old. And I'd heard about Henry McIntyre in Valentine, Texas, and I was working. I was going to work somewhere. No, I wasn't. I drove all the way over there to see him because that was right when I had, before I'd started my own business. And I stopped and seen him. So it was about 83 or 84, I guess. And man, I looked at those lions in those cages, and he had a huge old tom. It looked huge to me at the time. Had with a piece of plywood and a cinder block on this little cage. And I walked up to that cage, a big old tom doing that to me. I looked at that plywood. I said, man, I think he'd get out of there if he wanted to. And then he invited me in the house. Come on in the house. And I went in the house. And, have you ever watched the Beverly Hillbillies and seen Ellie Mae Clampett's coffee? He said, you want a cup of coffee? And I said, yeah, that'd be great. And I mean, his wife came out there and she poured a cup of coffee, and that stuff would grow hair on your elbows. I mean, it was just, it was so strong. And he just talked to me. He was such a nice guy. And I was, just broke as broke could be back then. And he had a pile, and I know what he was doing. He was poaching deer and stuff to feed those lions. And he had a pile of skulls and horns and everything back there behind his house. I mean, a big old pile. And I said something. I said, what are you going to do with those? He said, you want them? And I said, yeah. He said, you haul them out of here. He said, you can have them. So I loaded up the back of my truck, and I had a guy up here at the flea market. And I used to I was always out and about, going places, and I would find, horns, or I'd find even an old battery or some old cans or, anything. And I'd load them up, and I'd go to that guy at the flea market. And he was a dandy now, and he would pull out a roll of cash like that. I'll give you $2 for that battery, or I'll give you, and he would pay me for everything I'd bring him. Then he'd put it on his little table there and sell it for $5. And I started hauling those horns up there to him. I had a little red plywood building out behind the house there, and I filled that thing up with those horns and all the sheds I'd find too. But I could take those sheds up there, and he'd pay me for them. He would give me, little or nothing. I'm sure he was making a lot of money on them. But that kept me going, with that. And I was starting to rope a little bit back then too, and it got me entry fees to the ropings and stuff. But Henry, now the next time I went by and seen Henry, he had the cancer then too, and he was dying. And he was friendly, but he got tired, and it was, he made it known it was time for me to leave. And I left. But yeah, that was those old guys. That's why, when I got to go to that deal, the only reason I got to go to that deal is not because I hunt lions. It was because I'm sure it was because I did the interview with Clump, and they wanted me to talk to Steve Smith wanted me to talk to Rick Dickerson, and they invited me the day before. They invited me go talk to Rick, and I didn't leave. I just stayed for the gathering.
Yeah, and Rick and Terrell are real good friends.
Oh yeah, you could tell by the way, Rick give him a hard time. They're all, you could tell that they went way back together.
Dickerson didn't tell you about his potentially selling a good rope horse to that 25-year-old kid, did he?
No. What kid?
There was somebody, Rick had a rope horse for sale, and some 25-year-old kid wanted to buy this rope horse, so they got together, met at the next roping, and that kid put all his tack and saddled up and got on Rick's horse and got in the box, and things didn't go the way that kid thought they should go, and out of frustration, he goes to jerking that horse around and over and under it and whooping up on that horse. And Dickerson walks over there and says, "Go ahead and take your stuff off my horse." That kid says, "Well, I'm not done trying him yet." "No, you're done. Go ahead and take your stuff off." He said, "No, I came to buy this horse." He says, "Yeah, that horse isn't for sale." So that kid gets all belligerent, I guess. And, somehow or another they had some words, and that kid gets down off of that horse, and he's going to line old Dickerson out. And when it's over with, that kid had a broken arm.
I was going to say, if he's lucky, that's all he had.
And the cops came and everything else. And Rick said, "Hey, here I am in my late 60s, and this 25-year-old kid got on me. I was just fighting for my life. I don't know what happened."
Just trying to protect myself.
Yeah.
He's like a third or fourth degree black belt, isn't he?
I don't have a clue. He was just, when he was young, he was the lead vocalist and the lead guitarist in a rock and roll band that played around Phoenix, and they played in the absolute roughest, harshest, meanest bars in town where nobody else would play. And they played there, and it was nothing if a fight broke out in the bar, as long as they didn't get on the stage.
They had the fence. I think they had the fence between the band and the dance floor.
Well, I don't know, but every now and then somebody would get up there, and Dickerson would put his guitar down and go to thrumping and throttling and beating the hell out of people. And then once they got them all cleared away from the band, and they'd get back to playing and hoo-yawing.
Yeah, he said he started playing the guitar when he was like 9 or 10 years old, something like that. And he was too young to be in the bars, but I guess he was pretty talented, so he could. So whoever ran the band said, "No, we'll get you in. You play for us." But
that's
cool.
That's how he financed his first good lion dogs. He still had a bunch of that band equipment, the amps and high quality guitars, and now he has guitars again, and he has them. I don't know. Last time I was down there, he had 6 or 8 of them that he was rebuilding and shining up and doing it for just because.
He reminds me of a talented person that whatever he puts his mind to, he's probably pretty good at. He excels at. I know, but I do know that he struggles a little bit with roping, because that was one of the ends I had, is because I was a high numbered roper, and he asked me a bunch of questions about it, and we talked. He said, "I'll help you hunt lions if you'll help me rope." I said, "Man, you got a deal."
I think your high number roper is his high number lions.
Well, yeah, that's what he talked about. Levels. He talked about levels of levels of houndsmen or lion hunters. He said, and he was talking about different guys, and he called them fives. Well, you're a 5 lion hunter. That's a good lion hunter. So, man, I'm like a 2.
Rick, of those guys, when he started wanting to hunt lions, he'd find out where somebody lived, and he'd go knock on the door, and he just pestered them until he got some kind of help of some sort.
I think
that's how he got to guys.
Sewell helped him quite a bit. Sewell did, and the guy, I guess the Goswicks.
George.
That's a name you don't hear a lot. So, good one.
Yeah, Sewell's a heck of a guy. There's an interview of him. I've got it on the channel.
Interviews or
yeah, I think it's Interview Stories and Tales. And
has any of those hit a podcast?
Yeah, they've all been on the podcast. I gave the audio, all of them, to W Hunting Supply a long time ago. I gave them all of those, and then I gave all the Dale Lees. Now I paid Dale Lee's nephew the rights for the dailies. So I paid a lot of money for them, and I got the rights to them, but then I also got the right to be able to sell the box sets, and I sold quite a few of the box sets. And then W Hunting Supply, they paid me, so I got my money back. I wasn't out the money, but it was kind of a gamble. I didn't know, when I bought the rights to them, I didn't know if I was going to be able to get my money back or not, but I know I wanted to make them public. I wanted to put them up on YouTube or wherever I could. At that time, there was no podcasts, but I wanted to put them up to, I thought, I was craving information myself, unless you're raised around those guys or something, you just don't know. I didn't have any mentors or anything to go hunting with at that time. So getting a hold of those recordings of Dale Lee talking and everything was, and then Bruce Kennedy's was just like gold to me. And I thought, man, there's got to be other people out there just like me who wants to learn. So that's why I kind of made them all public, with the hope that I could get, people to, or sponsorship, and then my Patreon and everything. And everybody helped me out. I mean, I come out okay with it all. I don't have any complaints about that. But that was before there was podcasts or anything like that. I mean, and that's, but
well, it was long before you really got into YouTube hard too, right? Like you,
yeah,
you were just toying around.
Yeah, and the YouTube thing started because I bought that property in the mountains, and I bought it like in 2007, I think, or 8, something like that. And I was trying to learn how to, put my solar systems together and live off grid like I did. And I got on YouTube, and we had HughesNet. HughesNet was the satellite dish, and you could pick up internet. And I started watching YouTube videos on how to do that. And then I was riding out and hunting and riding out through the wilderness, all the time, and telling my wife these stories and about what happened, this and that. And she said, well, you need to keep a diary. And I was too lazy to write in a diary. She'd buy them for me, and I'd write about 3 pages, and then that would be it. But I had that Garmin. I bought that Garmin Verb, and I started carrying it. And it started out where I would leave in the morning, and I'd just turn the camera on me, and I'd say, today is, November 10th. I'm going up on top of the Animus. I'm going to make a circle down through the Cowboy Trail and come out by Bald Hill. I'm taking, Solo, Blackie, blah, 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 whatever dogs I had. And then that's all I do. And maybe sometimes during the day I would video, if something interesting happened, like caught a Coda Monday, or I caught a couple bears, just pop-up bears and stuff. And I caught a lion or two, not many, but I'd film that. But then on the way back, I would tell the story about what happened that day, what I seen, if I seen any scratches, or if I seen anything different, if I seen, deer, elk, whatever, just a regular diary type thing. And I got a bunch of that, but it's not worth sharing because I used that Garmin Verb on that FM Galvan one. You could tell how bad the audio was and how nasty the video is. But that's my story. That's all I got, man.
And you're sticking to it.
I'm signing off. But I still enjoy the heck out of talking to these old guys. I really enjoy it. And
I just got a text from somebody. I'm not gonna say his name, but he said, "Sorry for taking so long to get back to you, but I'm not doing podcasts anymore because he did other podcasts with other people too, and some people from other states he thinks brought too much attention to where he's at." So, but I just told him, I said, I think any state that you're allowed to hunt still, people are going to be drawn to.
I wonder.
It's just like taking a crap in the middle of the desert. That fly's going to find you regardless of how far out you think you are. They're going to go where they can. And that's, we talked about the whole New Mexico thing and Arizona thing. It opens up in Arizona first. All the bear hunters come here, and then New Mexico opens up, and all the Arizona bear hunters go over there, and they just they go to the states that they can still hunt in.
Now you got me curious over who wrote that to you.
I'll text you. I'll get hold of you later. Good guy. He said we're one of the good guys. That's all I know.
Well, of course we are. Anybody who would put up with Benny has to be an angel.
Either
That's
that
right.
team.
You know, and it's kind of, and I don't know, it don't make me mad. I understand the dude. He's probably just like, man, I don't want to deal with this crap. I don't want to get involved, because it is. I mean, just there's a lot of drama in the hound world. There's a lot of drama in the podcast world. When they start this National Houndsman Alliance, there's going to be a lot of drama in that. When I get my Arizona Working Dog Alliance up and really running, there's going to be a lot of drama in that. And
Are you going to make it? Are you going to make it where it's affiliated with that National Houndsman Alliance, or it's National Working Dog Alliance? Is what I was corrected as to what it was.
What? No, I thought it was National Houndsman Alliance.
I said National Working Dog Alliance.
They can't
Alliance.
They can't copy me. So that's another problem if they're doing that.
You got it copyrighted?
Well, I got it registered in Arizona.
It's not national, though. It's Arizona. It's not
no,
national.
Yeah, and I don't care about national. But see, that a lot of times that hurts a lot of the humane societies, because HACIS is, of the United States, and a lot of these humane societies in the States have no affiliation with the Humane Society. But when you hear a humane society, you think of them C words up there in the, HACIS, Humane Society of the United States. Those are sucker ragweeds.
That's what I got mad about, that cowboy Kent Rollins. He gave a big donation to the Humane Society there, and I think Ruidoso or somewhere like that.
Yeah, they may not have no affiliation whatsoever. A lot of these city or state ones have no affiliation with those. And I tell people that work there or run those, I say, man, you guys really got to change your name if you like. There's a lot in the name, but and they might get more donations because of it. Also, I don't know. They play the game.
They might walk a fine line trying to please everybody and the local ones and stuff, I imagine. But I'm like you. They should change their name.
I mean, it's smart. They're smart. Whoever came up with that name, copying me.
The only thing that bothered me about that whole deal was when they started talking about they had the hound dog media group or whatever, and
this is where it gets into the drama.
They weren't interested in. They never contacted me, and I thought, wow, I've been doing this for a long time, and nobody ever contacted me. So I let Jason Doobie know about it from Fool Cry magazine and W Hunting Supply. Told him, I said, what the hell's wrong with you guys? I said, I've been doing this a long time.
I think they have their own little, their little clique or their little group. You have to be part of the He-Man She-Hater Club or whatever it is. I think, I think people like us because we don't care. We talk about whatever we want, honestly, and we don't try to be somebody we're not, If W don't want to use our podcasts, then guess what? We'll put them on our own. We have our own. We'll put them on there. So a lot of our podcasts that we do here, I've been extracting audio and putting it on the Chris Watson project. So
yeah, that's what I mean. As far as all the podcasts, most all the podcasting stuff, I mean, Chris takes care of. I provide some of the content, but most of it Chris takes care of. So
I mean, it's not that hard.
I like to do the sit down interviews. I like to go sit down with those guys and talk to them, and I got all the equipment for it too, so that helps.
You might have to start out bidding W for those.
Do what now?
I might have to start outbidding W for those.
Well, I mean, W Hunting Supply, they have always been good to me. I mean,
no, they're good.
Yeah, Buddy, he's always been, pretty fair with me, and I get, it's just my nature. I get people irritate me from time to time, but that's my nature.
His time to time is like really short times. It's not months. I'm gonna tell you that. It's hours. You know, I think for those guys to come up with the Hound Dog Media or National Houndsman Alliance or whatever they're doing, and not to, there's nobody else, you know, doing these interviews, and these guys are dying. They're about to be dust in the wind, and and it is expensive to go out. Man, I went down the globe yesterday. There's $100 in fuel, and that's only 50 miles away where I went. So to travel across country, you know.
Yeah, I don't. Let's put it this way: when I go to sit down, with everything I get, when I go to sit down and talk to somebody, I don't come out on it. I mean, I don't. It's not like I'm making money.
You're not making money.
No, I'm just kind of.
You know,
I offset some of my expenses.
I mean, we just. Go ahead.
He should be for a passion.
Well, yeah, sometimes I worry. I would like to have more. Don't get me wrong, because I'm taking it out of my family's money. You know, not. My wife has a good job though.
Sugar mama.
She's a sugar mama. But anyway, enough of that. Let's talk about something else. Gosh almighty.
Yeah.
I wish I could find that Henry McIntyre one. That was.
Yeah.
I got pictures. I mean, I got some pictures, but I don't know where the video went to.
So what all did you and Dickerson talk about?
Yeah, give us a teaser.
A teaser.
Yeah, I wish you
should
have done a little clip.
Hold on. We got some stuff going on here. I'll show you. Calm down, Chris. Dadgummit.
Hey, Chris, there's that window.
There's that window.
You're getting on my nerves,
Minutes.
Chris.
It's minutes. I'll be muted here in a second.
Ended up and got on the short end of it, and you know, and went down, and you know, for sure you got to go down there and look to see if you're on the right end of it. Mm-hmm. You can't catch them going backwards. Mm-hmm. I always tell a lot of young guys call and they're talking to me, and they say, hey, you know, the thing just kept getting worse and worse, and I said, well, you're probably on the back end of it, you know, but you want to, you know, optimally you want to be on the short end of it. And
is there any way besides it getting consistent or continuing to get worse and not being able to find a track? Was there any indicators that you use to tell if you're going backwards or?
I'm gonna pull a Brett. Oh, you can't just leave us hanging like that. You can't just bring it up.
So Dickerson, he always wore
had a, you know, taxidermy shop there, and he was buying those lion hides for whatever it was. We still good?
Yeah, we're good.
So anyway, old Lorenzo, he comes in there, and we kind of hit it off and got talking, you know, and he came in a few times, and he said he was going to take me with him one, you know, time or two, but you know, I never did get to go with him. But this guy called me one time, and he says, hey, I see a lion down here, and it was over around Prescott. So I called Larry, and I said, hey, there's a guy down there says he sees a lion. He said, I'm going to go over there. You want to go? And he said, yeah, I'll go with you. So long story short, we trailed this thing. I mean, a long ways. And Larry's dogs are, they're in front of my dogs. You know, not a stupid amount of distance, but enough where you notice it.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the deal. They were just out trailing these hounds that I had.
Yeah.
And they're smaller, and they're sorry looking little things.
Yeah.
I mean, they're stupid color. I mean, you're like, you don't even, you know, what color is that dog? You know, he's some kind of motley looking thing.
Oh, little teaser.
It's gonna be a good one.
I'll guarantee you, that's the same Rick Dickerson that was in 4th grade.
Yeah, I bet he doesn't change for much.
They won't wear those headphones because they can't wear them with their cowboy hats.
And that,
did they make an earpiece?
Let me tell you what though, that is just the audio from the Osmo. That's not the audio from the mic.
Oh.
So but it was pretty good.
Camera?
Yeah, that Osmo, I tell you what, it's a good camera, and
I sure picked it up.
that's it right there. Ooh, where do I? That's it. That's all that thing is. And it's got a gimbal on it.
That's all it is, but ask him how much it all cost. That's not a cheap one.
No, this is a born 100 years too late is what pays for that thing. Interview stories and tales don't pay for that.
Well,
You know,
Dickerson was, and you know, he always wore those slick-soled cowboy boots, and he had a lion go off a bluff, and a bunch of dogs were headed off the bluff. So Rick runs over there to grab some of those young dogs, and Rick goes off that bluff, and yeah, he landed on some dogs down there on the bottom, and that's what saved his life. He broke his pelvis 2 or 3 places, and he was by himself. So he gets crowd, you know, he gets back up and gets around and gets back on his mule and gets his dogs and goes to the house. And that's when he found out he had a broken pelvis, so he had to lay off. And I remember he asked the doc, well, when can I go hunting? He says, well, you can't hunt. He says, well, when can I go exercise my dogs? He said, when you can walk, you can take your dog somewhere to get on some exercise, but you do not saddle up that mule. And so Dickerson went back to hunting afoot with a fractured pelvis that was partial healed.
That's
hard to keep those guys down because that's their passion. That's what they wanted to do every day. It's a habit.
Yep. But yeah, no, there's probably, I don't know, close to 2 hours of interview right there of him. So
Is he the only one you interviewed that weekend?
yeah, but I'm gonna go back and talk to Steve Smith, and he's agreed to it. He goes back and forth now. He's not totally convinced that he wants to do it, but I you know, these guys, I tell you what about these guys. They're real, they don't just trust everybody. You know, they've been through some bad times and had, you know, lots of people trying to catch them doing things wrong. And because they've, you know, they're well known within those circles. So they kind of got a target on their back. So you just show up, you know, Joe Blow, show up over there and say, hey, let's sit down and interview. And they don't know what I'm going to ask them and stuff, but I try to keep it just as about the dogs and lion hunting, and you know, I don't want to ask them about numbers or anything like that. I want to know, you know, because I do it. I think I can ask fairly intelligent questions, so about it, that things that I've always wanted to know. And you know, I really don't think they would ever talk to me, probably because of Benny's. You know, they know Benny, and so they think, well, if Benny will put up with him, then he must be okay, because Benny's an asshole anyway.
Got to take the good with the bad.
Yep.
You know that Marty says that I should come up with and me and Rick talked about that, and I talked to Steve about it. I don't like it to be scripted. I don't like it. I like it just to have, just like we do here, kind of a conversation that flows. Because I am legitimately curious. I mean, I'm not just. I really, you know, one thing leads to another. They say something, then I want to comment on it, or I want to ask them another question, follow up, and because I don't care what anybody says. Dry ground lion hunting is a hard thing to do.
More than anything, Brett, you want it to be the campfire look and reality, because that's just where you're at the best at ease.
Yeah, I
Just
feel more
sit around.
comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like us
So,
when we're
you
sitting
know.
here talking. It's a lot easier. I forget we have all the people here. It's just us having conversations, really, and that makes it. I think it makes it better.
Oh yeah.
So
But if you guys want any questions asked, Just send an email.
Yeah, shoot me an email or whatever. If you have something that's legitimate, curious about the dogs, or and I always ask them, do what's your best, do you have a memory of what was one of your best dogs? But someone like Rick, he's had tons of good dogs. But he told me, and I can't remember the name of a dog that most of them went back to that was supposed to be so good. Like Benny says, the genetics are there. They go back to a certain pool, and these dogs all come out of that. Popeye, probably, something like that. I can't remember. But
yeah,
who was that first?
He didn't keep that Goswick blood going very much. It got watered down real bad, and then he started getting in there with Terrell and Larry and Steve, but he had a dog forever. In fact, Terrell took it home to Cliff over there and let him live out his years chasing coons on the creek all night long, and that dog was Popeye.
Yeah. I tell you what, now, to a man, all of them say that Larry Hendricks is the best there ever was. And I tried to interview Larry, and he didn't like me at all.
Did Larry like anybody?
I think he liked Benny, and I don't know why. Probably because they're both assholes.
Yeah. There's not a man on this planet that was a closer, more dear friend to Larry Hendricks than Steve Smith.
Yeah,
And there's a guy over there that thinks that he's Larry's best friend, and they were sure enough friends, but Steve Smith is the absolute closest friend Larry ever had.
Yeah, I think they were.
He probably didn't put up with his shit either. He just kind of laughed it off or shrugged it off.
Oh, Steve, he let Larry have it. He told him, "You're just a bully and an asshole, Hendricks."
And Hendricks probably just laughed.
Well, he told me, he says, "Hey, Smitty came by here a couple weeks ago, and we were talking, and he says, Hendricks, you've been a bully and an asshole your whole life. You're probably going to die a bully and an asshole. What the hell's the matter with you?" And Hendricks says, "I had to think on that. I really kind of been a bully and an asshole."
He didn't realize he was one until someone told him he was one or asked him why.
That's just there he was. He's hard. He's just extremely hard. And it didn't bother him. But then when the guy that he thought the most of on the planet, for a friend, that kind of kicked him in the head.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I told Benny when I first met Larry, and this has been, Benny, 12 years ago or something like that, or longer than that?
It's been longer than that, probably.
I told Benny, I said, now, if he would have been a younger man, he might have had to try me on because he was that rude to me. But he was an old man, and I didn't say anything else. I just shut my mouth and walked away.
Larry was one of those guys, the way I met Larry by driving up in his yard. And I just said, I'm here for this and that. And before we get started, we have common friends. And he said, well, tell me some of these common friends before I ask you to get out of the car. That's just, but
I was there. I was there with a bunch of common friends.
No, I get it.
Eric, no, but I want to. He was there. I didn't get to talk to him. I would like to go talk to Sam sometime. He's a neat old man. I don't know how old was he. 105 years old. He's got to be.
I bet he's in his 90s.
Robert Chase, a good selfie stick with or a good gorilla pod tripod type deal. It's probably the best accessory to have. Just like that, and a good GoPro or that Action 4, something that has that stabilization. And anymore, I used to have to, when I had the cheaper GoPro, it still had, I think it was the GoPro 7 or something, had pretty good stabilization, but it had terrible mics on it. So you always had to use an external mic to get good audio. And now with these new ones, you don't need an external mic.
No,
picks up
I
sound
so I got the
perfect.
10s, but I have the Volta. Brett didn't like the Volta, or it didn't
The
work
one
for
I
him, but-
had, I had to send it back.
Well, you don't, because remember I told you have to
It
reset
didn't work. It didn't work.
But I have
Don't
the
argue with
Volta,
me.
and it's like 3 batteries.
There's that window.
Yeah, it's minutes with Chris. But then I bought this cheap one. This
Damn chicken
Tellison?
lovers.
this Tellison. The reason I like this Tellison is it has the battery pack on it, and it extends out. It's not even all the way out.
Now
Well, it's kinda cool.
he's just showing off.
Yeah, but this one's only like $60,
Just
and I
'cause
really
you-
like it.
Just because you have a big selfie stick, size doesn't matter.
Yep. It's like a guy drives a big truck.
It's what
Compensation.
It's what you do with it that matters.
But I like that Volta or whatever it is, because I don't ever change the battery. But when you don't, the battery will swell in here. I don't know why. I just had to pull
They
one
do.
out. That was,
My old ones did, yeah.
Yeah, they swell in there, especially when you're running it with this. And I only charge this, but it lasts me 2 days. It'll last me a while. Same with this one. Like this will last you all day. So instead of carrying, I used to carry 6 batteries with me or 9 batteries, and now I don't. So that's just a little Volta. Is that what those are called? The Volta, and then
Volta, I think, yeah.
this one is the. There you go, Robert. Find them on Amazon, Tellison. But I like this one just because it extends up. So it just don't have like the Volta has this thing right here.
Thank you, Wesley.
Kind of tripod it.
Yeah, I used mine for a while, but then something happened. I probably did something wrong, but I like
mine did the same thing, and you have to hold the 2 buttons and it resets, and then it will charge again. Or sorry,
I don't have to do that with
ask.
I don't have to do that with my where'd I put that?
Oh God, he's gonna show his camera. Here we go, guys.
And look at that. This is the extra battery that's on it right there. And that thing, you can pop it off, and then that's all you got is that right there.
And it's really actually probably not much more than the because the GoPros are what, $400 or $500, $400.
Yeah, I think this is
$399.
I think this was $600.
Yeah.
I keep this one. This is what I use on my desk.
What in the world is that?
That's my pickup.
Oh, my other sponsor too is Olight. These are good people, guys. I mean, I know I never had fancy flashlights before. I mean, all the flashlights I ever had, I bought at Walmart, and they take some AA batteries, and they're not LED or anything. But these flashlights from Olight are good, and they support us. I mean, they really do. I mean, I mean, it's amazing. I lost my headlamp, and I wrote them an email and said, "Hey, I lost a headlamp. What kind of headlamps do you got?" And they sent me a deal, said, "You pick one out, whichever one you want. So you're one of our partners. We'll take care of you." And I can appreciate that. And I don't think that lady speaks a lick of English. I think she's over in Japan or somewhere, and she uses a translator because sometimes it sounds kind of goofy. But
talking to us about killing chicken killers, but he's over there buying un-American. Who's the communist one now?
Man, they help me out. These other people, these dog food companies.
Hey,
I wish I could find some other kind of dog food company that I would.
You remember those Kel boots? You remember those guys? I did a little video for. They gave me some boots, and I.
Oh yeah. They sent me an email too, but I didn't like what I wear, what they have.
I love them. I wore them today hiking. I hiked all day today in them. Loved them. They're better than my mucks. My mucks are too heavy and bulky. Muck boots?
Yeah.
It's the same. It's a rubber boot.
This is what I lion hunt in right there.
Man, it rained here today. I don't doubt it. New Mexican. You probably come over kill all of our bears in October
Benny hunts in a Speedo.
with his flip flops.
He's got a
Or
Speedo
those,
on
yeah.
with chaps.
Yeah.
You gotta protect, you gotta protect your bits.
Your bits.
Hey,
Who else? Oh, Mountain Ridge Gear. And if I'm going to plug the people who help me, let me plug the people I don't like, and that's Old South Dog Boxes. I went out there and I tore the nameplate and the stickers off my dog box. I'm not giving them any advertisement. Idiots. They took I'm 63. I'll be 63 in November, and they took a whole year away from me.
Yeah, we got a dog question. When you're done trashing people.
Well, they had a chance to at least apologize and say, "Well, I'm sorry," make some kind of good excuses. Don't tell me because we're helping you out, we put you at the end of the line. Don't tell me that crap.
Yeah, that's kind of. Yep.
So there you go.
Anyways, there you go. We good? We feel better now?
I got to bring that up. Then I'm having to sit here and do a live with a bunch of chicken lovers.
I like chicken. Kind of like a pup. Some off them are, I don't know.
I don't see the dog. Where's the dog? Oh,
it's right here. It's hard to keep on track. A pup
those people too. Those people too with my pad. Skiddo saddle pads. You know when you're riding in rough country and your cinches get a little bit loose and that saddle pad will start coming out from the back of your saddle and you'll have to stop and reset and everything, those pads don't come out. They got like a coarse top to them and then they've got the real good pad. I like them. I just called them up. I said, man, I forget who had one. I seen it. And I sent them an email. They said, sure. And they just sent me a saddle pad. But it's called a Skiddo saddle pad here. Let me see if I can find this.
Would you suggest a shot collar to keep them on track? A pup that's hard to keep on track? No, I wouldn't. Why would you do that?
No.
I'm very light on my stimulation period.
Yes.
I try not to. I'm actually harder on my stimulation as puppies is when I put them on a rope and they don't come to me in their name and I'll pull them towards me. And I got it to where when they run off, I tone a little bit, but I don't burn them up. I keep them on that 20-foot rope though.
Oh, there's old light.
That's pretty bright too.
Yeah, it is. And then
is that a camera on there too? It looks like a little camera.
No.
So when after you do your YouTube videos, you do the porn. Old timers ask you weird questions.
Ellis canvas tents. They get me that canvas bedroll.
Robert, who's the one guy? I got to call him. I think I tried to call him. He didn't answer. Probably because I had it Arizona. The guy with your bedrolls.
Here's a picture of Benny with his grandson. That is exactly what Benny looks like with his shirt off.
Yeah. Who's the little skinny guy? Who's the little skinny houndsman guy? That was about, what was his name?
Oh, and these people. Whoop, that won't work. Sorry.
Brett thinks so. An extremely good Arizona dry ground houndsman keeps telling me that light-colored dogs do better in the Arizona heat. Do you guys agree? I think he does better in any heat.
I absolutely believe. I got 3 litter mates out there. Uno, Timmy, and Al. Timmy is more of a blue dog. He's pretty dark, but Uno has a black saddleback. He's black on top. And he gets hot. He'll be hot way before the other 2 dogs are. And they're litter mates. So they got as Benny would say, they got the same genetics. And they're out of Jazz, which came from Benny. So they got that old dry ground Arizona blood in them.
I heard Dickerson talking about Lorenzo. That's the vet over at Payson, right?
I can't remember right now, Benny. It's the guy he first started lion hunting with, I guess.
Must have been
Seth Rockwell.
There's a vet over at Payson that used to lion hunt, Lorenzo, and all the top-notch lion hunters took their dogs to Lorenzo when they did vet work.
James Sinclair. Is he a small guy? But Rockwell Canvas, he makes some pretty good ones too.
Bedrolls?
Yeah, Robert had him and his wife had some. They looked really cool. They were pretty nice.
Those white ones?
No, they were the big. They were kind of like the canvas cutters, but they had the the like tent pole thing where it keeps that out of your face, and it had a little vent in the front. It's really nice.
That's why my Ellis.
Mm.
And it's got a real nice mattress in it. And
yeah, they had some. I think it's like $300. How much was it? How much was yours?
I can't remember. It was they sent it to me for free.
Look at me. I'm Brad. I get everything. Chris just has a crappy one off of eBay.
I've also made 370 something videos.
That is true. Let's throw that in Chris's face too. Hey, I had a guy email me today, or I don't know when, say, "Hey, your left tail light's out on your truck. I seen you at the concert, and I just recognized your truck." He's like, "I'm not stalking you. I'm just, and I like you guys' show too." So,
met you, Chris. We are coming down to October to hopefully find a bear to get on. There you go. People getting in your territory.
Who's Minex 95? Why can't you guys just use your real name?
No, the old hunter's not a pup. That was my example in interviewing old houndsmen. Oh. 390. Everybody's looking at the comments. We get all quiet.
I know.
Rowdy Houndsman. He's about as tall as me, maybe 5'7", but skinny. Who in the world are you talking about?
I asked him who's in that picture. Who is that? Who is the old time houndsman that's kind of little guy you guys talk about? He's a mean guy too. That's not Hendricks, right?
Hendricks skinny as a rail now.
Is he tall or is he a little guy?
Yeah, he's pretty tall. Now Steve Smith is the one that's tall. My gosh.
Yeah, he's like
Hendricks is 6'2", Steve's 6'8".
Steve is he's tall. He's way up there in the trees.
They must be the undercovers that don't use their real names. Everybody knows my real name.
Here's some right there. Let's see.
Benny.
Jeez.
It just reminded me. I got to go to my email, Benny. There's a guy been emailing me, and I always forget about it. But he wants to talk to you. Says he don't have Gmail or nothing. But let me see. Let me see.
Tomorrow morning.
He wants to buy some. I told him you could buy some of your cubs. You got like your lion cubs.
Do you still have all those, Benny? You used to have like 18 of them, didn't you?
Well, not only that, but I'm exotic now, and I have those white ones from the polar region.
Let me see here. See. Come on. What are you doing here?
What are you waiting for?
No. Oh, I'm looking at my email trying to find the guy's name. No, it's not responding.
I know. I told Jim Farmer he talks to Mike Root from time to time. I haven't talked to Mike in a long time, but I told him next time you talk to Mike Root, tell him that interview of him, there's been 70,000 people watch that interview. 70,000. That's a lot of folks. That's a lot of eyeballs.
How many from back east?
16. I don't know. I can pull it up. I can pull up the demographic. You want me to look and see?
I was just curious if a bunch of his family and friends and people that knew him back east were watching.
Well, we like basically talk about dry ground stuff all the time, and we kind of gave Full Cry a little crap about in the old days. That's all they talked about were coon hunting, but I wonder how many people would listen to us if we just talk. There's a lot of people who just talk about, like, what is the UKC trials are going on right now, I believe, maybe, right? Or about to. But I guess if you have to be where you can hunt coon, I don't have a lot of raccoon here where I'm at. Not where I can go out and catch 30 a night or whatever, like Jeremy does. But I have very few. So there's not, obviously we don't have the competitions here. But it's just kind of boring to me. Those coon trials are boring to me.
Chris, show Brett that comment from Minx 95 so that Brett will get back in the good window.
And Matt, Bretty, you're going picked up a pup. Greatest kind of a man. The pup or Brett?
Whoa, hold on. We got to put that on the damn thing here.
Maybe this is Brett. Maybe this is Brett, because every time it pops up, Brett's over there looking at his computer.
I logged in under another name just to.
You haven't got under his skin yet. Trust me.
If somebody gets under my skin, I let them know right away. It's not. I don't hide it.
Sometimes you don't even have to get near his skin to get under his skin.
Chris, you're not listening to me. That's what he tells me a lot.
You're not. You go off. You have terrible ADD. I mean, terrible. I thought I had terrible ADD. How many YouTube channels do you have, Chris?
Maybe, I don't know, 3, 4, maybe 5.
See?
Don't ask me about emails, man. I'm emailed out.
How do you keep?
I got emails. I don't. I got a lot of emails.
What else? Any questions? How about out here in the comment section? Ask us some questions. This is just open forum tonight. Ask Benny a question. Look at him. He's just dying to answer something.
Hey, I want to know where's our little Maine 21-year-old.
Oh, hopefully he's out killing a deer.
Dylan, yeah.
I won't be on Wednesday.
Why?
I didn't realize it. I got to take my we got a hunter safety course Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning. Look, those are all my emails on my phone.
I'm an old hound dogger from Utah. It's a Meekum. Is that Hunter? He's not that.
Nope.
Hunter's not very old. What is it?
Come down and whack.
How Meekum? Is that the guy's name?
Hal was, yeah.
Is that the father? Oh, Stan. Yeah. Stan is one of them too. You know, Hunter's talked to me about going up there, and I've been meaning to go up there, and I haven't been able to. Hunter's he's a good guy, real good guy.
You that would have to be summer stuff, right? Like take 2 months in the summer and just hit everybody up. When it's too hot to kind of hunt, like that'd be the best time.
Yeah.
Everybody else probably isn't hunting.
You know, that's a strange thing about what I've done. With the videos, because I made my little videos, about my little hunts, but I always thought the thing that was of the most value to people was the interviews, was being able to go talk to these guys, and everything else was just kind of fun. But then my little fun things, they attract a broader audience, and so it has become more valuable than the interviews. Not to me, but I mean to a broader audience, I guess.
Basically, the way YouTube works is you ain't gonna make no money doing interviews unless somebody pays you.
You got to have
sponsors.
You got to have sponsors because there's just not that many people interested in listening to the old guy. You got to be a hound hunter, and there's only a hand. I mean, you got the coon hunting world's a huge world, and the bear hunting world is a big world. The dry ground lion hunting world is a fairly small world.
It's an interesting world. It's a very trendy world. Everybody loves to listen to the stuff, but
the old dry ground lion hunters, they're kind of mysterious type people because they're a lot of them are solitary and a lot of them are assholes. And
there's a lot of mystique and myth, and there's people just want to. Wow. Well, we don't know anybody that does that. There's a lot of people that go snow hunting, and you can always find that, but it's not the same. It's not the same mystique that surrounds all of that other.
57. You're still young.
Yeah.
Especially when you got.
I don't know what I'd do without you here, Benny. I'd have to figure out a way to pick at Chris a little bit.
He'd yell at me more.
Yeah. Have to get slammed shut.
So
no questions.
What's your plans, Chris, for this winter? Do you have any big plans that you got going on?
Hunt October. Everybody keeps asking me. I sent that line picture around, or that big track, and they're like, "Oh, why aren't you down there? It's hot down there. It's bad country. I don't want to get stuck down there all day. I'll hunt that in November. I know where he's at." And I just had that guy who said, "Hey, your tail light's out." He says, "I hunt down here. There's a ton of cats down here." I said, "Yeah, I know. I just found the line track."
Where?
October could be a bear.
No, I said where.
The bear. Oh, down in Globe. Go hunt it. I tell you what, anybody can go hunt that country. It's horrible.
A lot of public land, though?
Oh, yeah. It's all Tunnel National Forest, millions of acres.
Really?
But you got the res, where I found it. The res is just around me. And it's sheer cliffs. We lost, that's where my one video down there where my son took 2 hours to come 80 yards out of that, carrying dogs, and it's no fun. I did a live and said, "Here, you guys think just following dogs is easy." I was on the side of a cliff. I mean, when I'm videoing and the trees are standing up and the mountain is like this, I'm not holding the camera sideways, but they, see, I went off on a whole tangent. I forgot what I was talking about originally, but October, I'm going to be bear. I'm going to be hunting bear in October. I'm sure it's going to shut down quick. They already got a unit shut down for the whole year, so they're going to be piled in all these other units. November, and after that, in October, November, I'm going to be hunting probably a globe. I'm probably hunting down a globe. I might go try 23 all those. Maybe go hit Kaibab, maybe even. I've never hunted Kaibab for lion, but everybody goes up there and it snows, and I don't want to be in the snow. I'll hunt right here local for lion. So, but to throw something out there real quick, we bought 2 tables at the Bighorn Sheep Society dinner on September 28th. I think I got 2 chairs left. I was trying to fill it with kids. We got 6 or 7 kids coming. So we have 2 tables for houndsmen at the Bighorn Sheep Society, just so we could rub elbows. If anybody cares.
I used to.
Oh, and Red Cabin Outfitters bought 1 table so we could get over there. Bought the second table.
Where are they out of, Chris?
Here in Arizona, Sholo.
Right.
I think he lives up here, and they hunt New Mexico too. So he goes and kills all your bears in New Mexico.
The Bighorn Sheep Society appreciates the lion hunters.
They do. They used to call. Well, not them, but on the Armandaris, they have the bighorn sheep. I used to get calls. I caught a lion out there. I caught 2 lions out there, and we only got 1 killed. But They appreciate the lion hunters because
Well,
bighorn sheep are like ice cream to lions.
they love them, and those Sonoran pronghorn too.
Really?
hmm Brian, Chris, did you buy any of those properties? Not yet. And I'm not going to admit that because I think my wife might be watching.
Secret information.
Yeah, that's
Guys,
top secret.
I'm gonna go to bed and hit it again tomorrow.
Benny's got a regular job where he has to work his butt off every day. Look at him.
I don't know why your wife couldn't get 2 jobs.
Yeah, what's wrong with you, Benny?
You know, we've discussed that numerous times, and I'm working.
Listen,
You lost that
if
deal.
if your first wife can't handle it, maybe you should have the second wife do it.
Well, you know, I already brought up I started interviewing for a travel wife, and that shit got down too.
Man, selfish. She is selfish. What?
You know, so it must be something in the training, and I missed it years ago.
You didn't shock her on full shock. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Man.
well, if I've been married a couple times. Chris has been married, what, 8 times or something like that?
Just 3.
But you learn, the more wives you have, you get a little better education with each one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm too old to start over.
No, that's true. I mean, you got a good one,
Me
though.
too.
She's a good lady.
Well, she puts up with him.
She's got to be an
All of
angel.
It's like all of them. They are absolutely sweet to everybody but the one that has to put up with it.
You see a lot of memes and all those where it says, my wife texts me all day and tells me how she misses me and everything. When they get home, she's mean as hell to me. I'm all, that's about it.
That meme, matter of fact, my wife sent it to me, or they sent it to me. It's perfect. My wife, perfect. The guy sitting there and he's all looking dejected and everything, and the lady sitting there and she's holding his hand, and he says, we've been married for 28 years and you still correct me every day. She looks at him. She says, 29 years. That's my wife to a T. It doesn't matter what I do. It's wrong. Yeah, I'm driving down the road and she starts saying, yeah, that car's stopping, or speed limits, speed limit 65, you're going 70. And she fussing. I said, dang, when you're not here, all I do is drive around and get tickets and run into cars. That's what I do, because you're not here to tell me about these cars stopping in front of me.
Oh, thank God they don't have a brake on the passenger side.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, when you get in trouble for women bashing.
Robert wants to know about that. I'm not on the blade anymore, Robert. They shipped me down to Carlsbad to babysit a crusher that keeps breaking, and we're doing surgery internal on that crusher, and it's just not any fun.
They're all some kind of crazy. You just have to hunt around until you find one that's your level of crazy. That's true.
That's tricky.
That is true.
I
guys,
tell my wife.
I enjoyed it.
Night.
Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for telling me about all those Arizona lion hunters.
Hey, if you did you set something up with Sam? Did you talk about it with Sam?
Sam who? Luce?
Luce.
No, I never talked to him. I seen him, but I never talked to him. You got contact information?
I do have it, if you need it.
Would you send it to me? Yeah, I'd love to go over there and sit down and talk to him.
He's on the Campbell Blue. He's right there in our neck of the woods. You know the area.
I know the Blue, yeah. A little bit. I mean, I've been there.
All right.
We need a thumbs up, Benny.
Give us
You're
your
gonna have
thumbs
to
up.
practice
It didn't work.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look at
There's
we got
one.
a bubble right
Throw
there.
the other one up.
You're not in the
Other way.
camera.
Other way.
There you are. There he is.
Bam! There we go.
You guys have a good evening.
Bam. Now he's gone. So what do you think, Mr. Chris?
I think there's a lot going on in the hound world.
How did they raise $100 and something thousand? That's a lot of money.
Let me see here. I'll tell you. Being the great PI that I am here. Let me see. Where's that? They did. Where's that? Something called Join or Die. They made like $2,500 for. They made $5,200 on that bourbon. That's a good chunk of change. I wonder how
whiskey?
many. Yeah.
I should have bought a bottle of that.
What? No, I heard they're going to make more. So I think they should. I think I'll buy another bottle. We never even cracked open my bottle. You want to know why? Because those Tennessee sons of guns brought
that moonshine.
Moonshine. So we didn't even have to crack. I still got it in my fridge.
Butterscotch moonshine.
Oh, butterscotch, apple pie. There was like 6 different flavors. They had a fundraiser, $28,000. I guess they collaborated with.
What was the fundraiser?
I don't know. Just says fundraiser. $81,000 on a collaboration with UHC.
What's UHC?
Utah Houndsmen. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I haven't dug that deep. And then there's like over $1 million raised through some strategic planning committee. So,
but that's all that Houndsman XP did.
Yeah. So they did a chunk of change there.
Yeah, no kidding. That's good. That's real good.
Oh yeah. Pretty good for Mr. Green Jeans. That's all I'm saying. So needs to hit the woods and make more. Yeah, I do. I'm going to.
Where are you?
I went dove hunting. Robert Chase. I think Chris needs to hit the woods and make more videos. Yeah, Brett yells at me all the time about it.
You know, you got you got to make enough videos to make it, to keep yourself somewhat relevant, I guess is what they say.
You look kind of tired, Chris. I've been up and then, man, I walked. Here's the difference. I was going to get into this earlier. When I went out and ran that bear, I walked further than I did today, just walking around on elk. And I had a backpack on, and maybe but my hips were hurting today. I don't know if it's just because, bear. But when I was hunting bear, running after dogs, not a problem. Wasn't sore. So, but I was running those elk today. What's UHC, Robert? United Houndsmen. I don't know. Have we heard anything about that? I didn't hear it's going to be called like the Working Dog Alliance. Like, I think I came up with that name first, but it's a good name because I chose Alliance. Let me tell you why I chose Alliance, because I don't want to be an association organization. I just want to run around and hobnob with all these other organizations and get together, and that's why it's a good idea if they are going to name it the United or National Working Dog Alliance, because it needs to be an alliance and they need to be aligned with every organization in every state.
Well, that's what they want to do, is make it where they're associated with the bird dog guys and all that other kind of stuff, which I think is a good idea.
When did you hear about this?
Me?
Yeah, recently?
Yeah, I got my ways, man. It's some stuff that some guys I talked to that I can't tell you about.
I just feel like I came up with the name first.
You should have copyright. But yours is Arizona. This is
No, I'm Arizona.
national. That's why I was asking if you were affiliated with them. That if if they're going to have a national working dog alliance, are they going to have each state going to have their own, Arizona working dog alliance, blah blah blah, Colorado working dog alliance, and then you guys can all get together once a year and hold hands and sing songs. And
They should. They should. It's what alliance. That's why I chose alliance. It should be those anti should be like, gosh dang, that alliance is coming back. They're going to throw money down. And we need money. That's what it's all about, is money. Those antis have money, and they have people who give a shit.
have you heard anything?
But
Have you heard anything about the Colorado deal? What's going on, or what they're using the money for? Are they running commercials? Are they doing some good stuff?
Yeah. No, they got a lot of stuff out. I've just seen it on Instagram. They've been putting out a lot of Prop 127 stuff. So it's out there.
What is this all about? What is the ethnicity grandfathering?
Oh, the ethnic minority. Love it. Love it.
Love what?
Remember we was talking to ethnic minority, to where you can hunt hounds because you're an ethnic minority. Remember we was talking to I'm bad with names. The guy from England sounds like an Irishman.
Oh, Scott. Yeah.
Scott.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's over there on the other side of the pond, though.
United Houndsmen of Colorado. That's what it is. I just think everybody needs to get together and pick a couple, maybe reps from each state that want to talk to your state and then relay back. That's what I think. I don't even know who's running it. I don't know who's starting it. It's the first time I heard about the National Working Dog Alliance. I thought it was going to be the National Houndsman Alliance or something.
They told me.
But it should be more than just houndsmen, because they're coming after birds. And then they're going to, if you can't use dogs, you're not going to be able to chase coyotes. If you can't use hounds, if they get rid of the hounds, you're not going to be able to chase coyotes, rabbits, foxes, bobcat, anything, pigs, butterflies. He showed up to United Houndsmen of Colorado banquet, but I wouldn't consider that collaborating. I don't know what UHC Houndsman I don't know what UHC is. Houndsman XP collaborated with. He showed up to the United Houndsmen of Colorado. Yeah. Well, spreading the words of collaboration. When we were telling everybody about Prop 127 and they still need money. They still got bills to pay. They're still fighting it. So you guys can still donate. Oh, you know what I also have here? Let me go down. Just you can show this real quick. I forgot all about it. Where's he at? Right here. Man, I don't know if we want to. Let me blank out some stuff before I send it to you. I'll just put
some top secret stuff.
Well, kind of. Send it to Brett. See if that shows up there. I'm a PI, so I know how easy it is to snag information. And like everybody thinks that, don't give them your social. Damn social. All I need is your phone number. I know everything about you. Who you're married to, who your cousins are.
You don't know everything.
Be surprised.
You don't know everything, I can promise you that. It didn't come through,
Did you
Chris.
get it yet?
No, it didn't come through.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Make sure it went. Make sure I hit send. Be back. Why didn't it go to you? Let me see. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It delivered.
Didn't come through.
That's because someone hacked your phone.
Probably. No kidding.
Here, let me send it to that email here that you did. I'll reply to your email. Photos. Let's try this.
Oh, I just got it. I just got it on the text message.
Just took a while.
$11,300 buckaroos. Canyon
Cody
City,
King.
Colorado. That's the check he sent to him, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
I took all the account number out of it. There you go. Every little bit helps, and they still need money. They still need to operate all the way for the next month, September, October, month and a half. $20 is $20. It all adds up. And you can go look. If you look up the CRWM and the I always forget the other one's name. They have to post what they're doing with their money. So just like just like Cats has to, or Hases, how much they make, what they do with it.
Oh yeah.
So
what else do we have?
Oh, I just got an email. Benny mentioned a Rhodesian Ridgeback that breed a dog crossed on hounds played a major role in Tritronics getting their hands on the Lee brothers' attempt at a shot collar. I don't know. Did it?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
The Lee brothers are the ones. I mean, they come up with all that was made in Tucson, and then Tritronics, I guess, started or took it or whatever, and then of course
you asking
bought
me
that.
You know, Gene, I did check the mail and I haven't got nothing yet, but I did not check it today, and I'll check it tomorrow. Gene sent some money over for the cause.
Cool.
He's not scared. Missouri. All the way from Missouri. I love seeing these trappers, these other organizations, trail hunt associations, like from other places. I would love to be able to go make $5 million tomorrow and just start hammering all these. Every time they hit another state, I'd love to hammer those states. Missy, I'm not going to be on Wednesday. You guys, I'm not going to be on Wednesday because I got class. I got to get my kids hunting license so they can hunt big game. So the safety course, hunter safety course, we have Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday morning. So that way I can burn up their bear tags and their elk tags and all that good stuff. So
still get to hunt, just don't get to kill.
Me?
Well, if you're hunting,
I won't burn my tag.
You still get to hunt, you just don't get to kill.
Yep. Once again, another good show. Work comes to early. Thanks, gents. Chris, thank you. We won't say for what. You know what we're thanking you for. He's from Tennessee, is all I'm going to say. So, we might have to put in an order for him next year.
Let me see.
Anything going on?
Since I was doing this, let me see.
When is your interview? Are you gonna get this interview ready for W?
Yeah. It's pretty easy, really. I just got to sync the audio from my Zoom with the video, and then of course, publish the audio, and I was going to try to share some of this. This is
I sent.
Dadgummit. I don't even know what this is. Let me see what it is.
We went to Belize. We was trying to get an outfit together and wasn't having much luck finding a cook. And Dale said, well, we might just have to get a man cook for a while. I said, what in the hell do you think people would think of you if you come to a country like this and hire a man cook? They think you're crazy in hell. Of course, I was just kidding him.
I drove all the way to Tennessee to interview that guy. He hunted
You
with
guys
Dale.
gotta just get on the channel and go buzz through a lot of those. I always forget about them too. So you guys on this channel, just go check out all these old interviews. You still have a couple on Born 100 Years Too Late, don't you?
Yeah, I kept Mike Leonard's and Mike Roots.
Roots.
I think Jim Farmers is still on there. I need to move them off and put them on interviews and stories and tales. Charlie Settles one, I've never finished it. I mean, I got it, and I got some more stuff right here that I have to go through, and then I got to go back, and I talked to Dennis Carson once, and I got to go back to Tucson and talk to him again. And those three guys is a pretty good story about when they were down hunting with Dale Lee down in Mexico. And
that's the one we was talking about the other day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's going to be a good one.
Charlie was, I mean, he was just a heck of a houndsman, heck of a hunter. It's all he'd done all his life. And he trapped in Canada for 5 or 6 years for a living. But he caught a jaguar down in Belize before the Lees ever went down there. And then he went up in Oregon. He hunted lions and bears and everything and bobcats. And then he went to Canada. He'd been all over the place. He's passed away now. But I drove back over there and I sat with him for a whole day. Got all his bunches of his pictures and talked to him and stuff. So that was pretty cool. Neat old man.
Yep. Gene, I have a 300 and a 200, and I've liked my 300 better than my 200, but I didn't use it. My 200 was just a spare. Yeah, have you had any problems with your 300, Brett? It says right, my spare Alpha 100 quit. Would you bump up to a 300? I don't think it's much more than 200, is it?
I haven't had any trouble with any of them, really.
Yeah. Minix 95. Can we hunt deer or anything else when we are down there? Deer, probably not. There's over-the-counter elk in a few units, but bear and lion. So.
Cool.
Yep.
What do you think? Should we call it a night?
You think 2.5 hours is good enough for tonight?
Anybody else got anything or?
Ask a question. All sportsman groups need some together, from public land council to the blind hunters. Bottom line, they want us off the land. They do. They want everybody to sit at home and become fatter than what they are.
City people.
And that's what they want. I will not be doing a show Wednesday. I need to reiterate that.
Public service announcement. He will not be doing a show on Wednesday.
I'll post it. But we'll be back next Monday. If you guys want us to talk about something, let us know.
I'll try to get this interview thing out to W Hunting Supply for Rick Dickerson. And then I'm going to try to go over and see Steve. Mr. Smith, he's a neat guy. Mm-hmm. And Benny will get me that.
It's only 80 miles from me.
And Benny will get that information for Sam Luce. I'd like to sit down and talk to him. And then, of course, Joe Hott.
Mm-hmm.
And the other guy, what was his name?
I don't remember. Kevin? That's Anderson? Something? Yeah. Maybe. I don't remember. One of them guys you didn't hear about, but...
Yeah, everybody says he was something else.
Mm-hmm. So, thank you guys. good.
And it's
You know,
that
I'm gonna
time. I
do
mean,
that.
up in the northern end of the Gila, the highs are only getting up in the the low 80s, high 70s, and you get that's staying getting down to 40 something at night, and not getting not hitting the high until 11 o'clock. That gives you plenty of time to hunt.
I need to get over there and kill your lions.
Yeah, come show me how to do it.
Oh yeah, not to do it.
We'll make a circle. Bring your mule. We'll make a big circle. We'll make
I will.
we'll take our Starlink and we'll go live on the mountain.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it would. It would. We'll plan that sometime, Chris.
Coming up. It's coming up. I'm ready.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for coming.
Onward and upward. Let's call it quits, huh?
Let's call it quit.
I'm done.
See you next week.
Bunch of brainwashed.